Okay, I left this part out. I forgot about it. Sorry. Let's go.
Encourage me to date outside of my
Sorry. Sorry, it's slow. Put it back. There.
race with that slave mindset, with that brainwashed mindset.
Continue.
Oh sis, you need to date outside your race. Don't just limit yourself. Limit myself, baby. Do what works for you, and I'm gonna do what works for me. You heard exactly what I said in my video about black men and the empowerment of black men. I'm good over here. I'm good. I was created for a black man, baby. Don't ever try me like that. Stay safe.
Now, that part, I like that part where she was saying, you do you, I'll do me. And the problem is, why so much anger? And the reason is because these people often are basically, I think, told this is what they're meant to be for, right? Because she said she was made for a black man. Who told you you were made for a black man? Who? Oh, you think black people told you you were made for a black man? No, it's actually white people who told you you were made for a black man. They literally made it illegal for you to be with anything but black men. So I mean, thinking of it's a slave mindset or things of that nature is weird to me because it's like, well, you do know if we're saying slave mindset means you are subservient, right? When you are a slave, you follow the master, correct? Well, you are literally following exactly what white supremacy told you to do, to be with black men. A major issue with miscegenation is not fear for the black race being somehow tainted or whatever. I mean, the black race has white in it anyway. So it's not about preserving the black race. If preserving the black race was about keeping white outside of the black race, well, that's over because we all have white in us. So, I mean, like, you know. And I've had this happen so many times. Like, I'll get trolls, black trolls, who will try to pretend they're racist white people. I just had that happen. And they will not realize how racism actually works. White racism does not care about the black race or how pure it stays or what happens to the black race. White supremacy concerns itself with the higher supposed race, the white race staying pure, okay? So that's why, I mean, you guys talking about all this stuff about slave mindset and mentality, that would be you because you're following exactly what they want you to do, is to be with black people. So their race isn't supposedly tainted by black people, basically. So I always find this really weird, the whole slave mentality thing. Like, it's a cop out, I think, because most of the time these people are really just referencing what was told to them, and what was told to them is not something that was told to them by any person who was basically thinking of just black people in general. It was usually someone thinking in the interest of white people and the white race, basically. You have to understand, most things that black people do is influenced by white people, basically. And the reason why that is just because of the predisposition of black Americans in the first place. Black Americans came from slavery, so their descendants were influenced by their parents. Their parents were influenced by slavery. So what did slavery cause? Black people to be split from their black parents. That means that black children were basically raised with at the supervision and at the adherence of white supremacists, basically raising them to be what they want them to be. So then certain mindsets continued after slavery. Continued, and it also helped by Jim Crow laws as well, and the continuation of that. So the whole idea of white supremacy and trying to continue to keep the white race as pure as it can be is the reason why there's an association with black people staying with other black people because of that, basically. If you really thought of it on a whole percentage level, I think most black people are actually attracted to people outside of their race more than people inside of their race. And the reason why is because the majority of women and the majority of men are not black. And that's not our fault. That's not white people's fault. That's just our demographics. So that's just how we're naturally are gonna be. But of course, the reason it's not like that is because of white supremacy. Now, I wanted to continue to respond to this guy as well. Continue.
And that's Charlotte Kemia right there telling you just to leave her alone when it comes to black men. She's a black woman.
Yeah, I totally support her black love, by the way. I do. I'm just saying, as far as trying to talk about people who interracially date in reference to that, and how I just don't see how that is going to be really seen as going in favor of white supremacy or a slave mentality or trying to basically follow what white people would tell you to do. White people have always told black people to stay with black people when it came to white supremacy. So it's not actually falling into those lines. It's actually you guys are falling into that idea of things. Fine by me. I mean, I don't think that black love is wrong. I don't. I think black people who are attracted to black people, who find love with black people, should find love with black people. If that's the one, that's the one. Why would I ever say someone should not find the one if that's the one? If that's the one that's perfect for you, that's the one that's perfect for you. But that's not going to be the perfect one for most black people, I don't think, because most black people are attracted to more people outside of their race than inside of their race. That means that basically more of their options are going to be people outside of the race. So, continue.
Those black men, that's natural. You can't get any more natural than that. It's unnatural to be wanted.
So it's natural to like people that look like your brother, sister, father, mother, daughter, son. It is natural to want people that look like your family members? I don't get it. What do you mean? It's natural to be attracted to people just because they're black, just because they look like you? For genetic variation, actually, this is why opposites are attracted to each other more than people who are more similar to each other. Often. At least for heterosexuals, this is how it turns out more often, because it helps with genetic variation. So, I mean, you saying it's natural. Well, I don't think even on a biological level that it's natural. I guess you could say you're thinking to continue the same image of black people. I honestly think in America, we're never going to have a majority of black people, so why are we really caring about our numbers like that? We have black people in Africa, and those numbers aren't going to change, and I don't want them to change. I love black people, but I just think that, being concerned whether the percentage of black people is 13% or not is weird. And plus, anyway, in our country, we see mixed people as black. If we don't see mixed people as black people are really not black themselves. Because black people are literally mixed. This is why it's so silly when people always act like, oh, you're erasing the race. If the race is erased by having white ancestry, we've already been erased. So it's not that either. But as far as natural, let's talk about environment. In an environment like in America, where the majority is 87% of the population is not black. 87%. So you mean to tell me that black people, it's natural for black people to only be attracted to 10% of the population, and then you have to understand, black people aren't just going to be attracted to people based off, oh, they're black. That's how you get desperation, because people think that they have to stay within the black race, the 10%, and they're only picking people who maybe they have a physical attraction to, but they don't have an emotional, or maybe they have an emotional but not really a physical, because it's not going to be the perfect fit, because you're only picking 1 out of 10 men. Think of it this way. If you have options and men that are your perfect options, your perfect matches, and you only have to pick, you can only pick 1 out of 10 of those men. If you can only pick 1 out of 10 of those women to choose from, that limits your options. One, it makes you it sets you up for a bad situation, because you're looking for the wrong things in a relationship, and in a relationship, for it to last, you need to focus on how compatible you are with this person, physically and emotionally, and financially and lifestyle wise, just all in general. You don't need to be concerned with what race they are, you know, like that, because if you're concerned with what race, it's clouding all the other things, especially when you can only pick 1 out of 10 men at that point, 1 out of 10 women, you know. I think black men and black women are being set up for failure when they do that. And, honestly, the reason they're set up this way is because they were set up by white people to only pick 1 out of 10 possible matches for themselves, because white people didn't give a shit about them back then because of white supremacy. So it makes sense, if it was black people who made the initial social expectations of black people in the beginning of the time that black Americans have been in this country, since the 1700s, they would not make it out to be where we were only stuck with black people. The ones who came up with the idea that black people are only with black people was white people. That was the ones who came up with this idea to relegate black people with black people. Think of it. White people, when white people were the minority, they never relegated themselves to only white people. They would relegate themselves to Native American women and so forth, other races of women and things of that nature. I'm saying this in the sense of the history, because white women were not making decisions back then. So what I'm trying to say is they always opened their options when they were a minority. Same thing with anybody else who's a minority. If you're looking for the best thing for yourself, you will open your options. The only reason the options were closed was because white supremacists made black people have their options closed. Nowadays, we don't have to close our options. But the thing is, black people are so brainwashed by white supremacy that they will adhere to the ideas and the regulations of white supremacy to support white supremacy and white purity, even if it hurts themselves, because they don't know any better. You guys don't know any better, and that's what that is all about. So that's all I have to say. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe, everyone. Comment down below and have a great day. Bye.